So exciting. Is this working? Is this working? Yes! Hi, Leo.
Hello, we made it.
Hello! We made it. It's always a bit of like a nervous moment in the beginning. Will this all work out? Um, so yes, hi everyone. Welcome, Leo. It's an incredible honor to have you here because actually, funny enough, my entrepreneurial journey um, touched upon Buffer's entrepreneurial journey very, very, very early. Like years ago, I think I discovered you on like some Austrian startup pitch page and wrote you about how to build businesses international in your home country, whatever. And I got like the first reply from you. It was like 10 years ago or something. I don't even know
Wow,
what they remember.
I don't
Probably not.
remember.
That's totally cool. And of course, it's like many other people out there, I think, building digital businesses. Been following Buffer's story, have learned a lot from you, your co-founders and the company. So big thanks for everything you've taught us in the blogs. And yeah, super happy to have you here today. And for everyone out there, so the special part about our session today is that actually I don't get to ask many questions to Leo, even though I'm dying to ask all of them. I actually will be asking questions. And Leo, maybe you want to introduce this format since you kind of invented it with me.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, hello everybody. It's exciting to be doing this live. And yeah, I really enjoyed kind of Darja reaching out to me if I wanted to be on, and I said I can be on, but I will coach you, and this is how we can do it because that's kind of where I thrive, and this is what I enjoy doing the most in my life. Whenever I get an invitation for a podcast, I say I don't do podcasts. I just coach people. So if you'd like to be coached, you can do that, and we can record it. And really briefly about me, yeah, I started a tech startup called Buffer a few years ago. I stepped away from that about 3, 4 years ago to really explore my own inner world, my own inner journey. And what I did is I'd first spent almost 2 years in a Buddhist monastery, and
Where was it?
that was in upstate New York. Yeah, the Thich Nhat Hanh monastery. And then I trained as a trauma therapist, and eventually everything I've learned, both as an entrepreneur and in the monastery and from training as a trauma therapist, I said I want to take all of that and bring it back to the founders, the CEOs, the entrepreneurs, and the VCs, and yeah, those are like at this point I've coached hundreds and hundreds of people from different walks of life. I call them extraordinary people, and with extraordinary I mean people that are willing to go beyond the ordinary, beyond their status quo, beyond the beliefs they hold so far, kind of to dare and lean into a kind of life. And I want to kind of leave it there and kind of almost transition already into having you step in, Darja. And for everyone who's watching, everyone who will watch it once it's recorded, the invitation is really kind of for you to, if you want to allow yourself to be coached through this, through the questions. There's an invitation for you to track your body. What do you notice in your own body in this moment, or as we go through the journey in the chest and the belly? I often find that's really important for a powerful coaching, that we do it from a place of the body. So yeah, Darja, thanks for taking the hot seat today, and for doing it vulnerably in front of everybody. I want to start off this way, and feel free to kind of close your eyes and to take a minute just to sense in. But the question I want to begin with you with is, what would make this maybe one of the most powerful conversations you've had so far in your life?
I mean, it's already pretty mind-blowing because it's like a thing that I have never done in my life before. I've never got coached live on any channel. Um, so I think that is already great. Most powerful conversations in my life. I think what makes a conversation like life-changing is that you walk away and you don't see the world the same as you did before. So people call it aha moments and things. But in the end, I think I'm pretty like, I can be pretty stubborn. I am also quite open-minded at the same time. And I think if we manage to um, move things in my head that actually help me to see new pathways or new routes and help me kind of resolve or at least see like options in things that I typically get stuck on. And I kind of like always feel I come here and I don't know how to continue from here. And here it is again, and I can't don't know how to continue. And then I get distracted. So if we manage to like discover one of these blocks and then manage to see like what other things are there, how can I like walk around the block or so? I think that is pretty powerful already. And being busy and distracted many times, I think like 95% of my life, I think this is already like a great gift to even dare to accomplish. So
Yeah. And before we go there, I just want to be with the kind of nervousness that I'm picking up, the kind of anxiety that I'm imagining is in your body. And feel free to close your eyes again for a moment. Like, what do you notice? Feel free to put your hand where you notice the anxiety the most too. Like maybe that's over your heart or your belly.
I think it's a belly.
It's the belly. Wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's like my breathing typically gets very like shallow and fast.
Yeah.
And I have the same now. And then I feel like I get like a squirrely when I'm nervous. So I have like a lot of movement in my body.
Beautiful. And let's allow both of those. Allow yourself to be squirrely, even though it's a little embarrassing if a lot of people can see you, but allow yourself to let your body even make some of these gentle movements that feels nice to be making right now. Yeah, exactly. Allow that.
Cool. Better.
How do you know that? What do you notice now? Beautiful.
It's like freer, I guess. Like
Mm.
having the allowance to like be whatever my body is in the moment
Mm.
is very
Mm-hmm.
free.
Beautiful.
And my breath just got a bit calmer, I think.
Wonderful. And I want to invite you to do something that's maybe quite scary. I want you to invite you to look away from the camera for a
Mm-hmm.
moment and to kind of look around the room. You kind of see that you're still in your space at
Mm.
home and to allow yourself to be with yourself, not with everybody watching or not even with me. Just to really allow your eyes to move and see if there's anything in your vicinity that's kind of nice to look at right now. Something that's, for example, I have a tree right outside of my
I have a
outside.
I have a cat.
You have
Can
a
I
cat?
show?
Yeah, for sure. Show us the kitty. Oh, she's so cozy.
It's very cozy. It's very
She
distracting to work next to this colleague.
wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And take your time. We've got lots of time today, and we've got no agenda. I know a part of you wants to do a good session for everybody watching, but just let yourself notice the kitty just a little bit longer.
I'm getting sad.
Yeah. What are you noticing? Tell me a little bit about the sadness.
Um, it's hard to express. I think I catch myself in these moments like when I'm not, when I get a moment of quiet or peaceful
Yeah.
that I can't really feel like the same feeling that I used to feel when I like wasn't trapped in an apartment worrying about the world.
Yeah.
um, and I think it accumulates over days because I don't really like um, currently take a lot of outlets where I could really like talk that through. Um, I think probably as everyone else, like I'm quite scared. There's like some personal things like slowly creeping up. Like it used to be this like faraway topic that happens on news, but now it's like families are getting involved. There's consequences, and I think it's just like every day there is like a different, more horrible news
Yeah.
coming out, and it's like the feeling of helplessness that even like trying to do a small thing, which is going to
Hmm.
cost you a lot of energy, is
Yeah, and
going to be like
I wanna
wasted
pop
almost.
I want to pause you again there
Mhm.
because that's already a lot. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And we'll kind of breathe into all these parts. And I'm sure a lot of people that have joined, it's really cool to see so many people joining in, can relate, right? They got their own story. And I want to be with what you said. Something shifted. At first, it was this, oh, it's the virus thing going on. It's kind of scary. Now something personal has happened, or
Mm.
recently happened, and a part of you has gotten, oh, this is getting even closer now to
Mm.
your reality, um, and the feeling of helplessness that comes with that, right?
Yeah, and it's also anxiety. I mean, like it's a mix of anxiety, helplessness, and also like at the same time feeling sad for like every doctor that records himself on YouTube, like crying for help and like not knowing how to help.
Right. What is coming up in your own body? If you speak to the sadness, as you speak to the anxiety.
I think it's pretty like um I can be quite emotional. Like I'm not very emotional during like my day-to-day normal work life, but I think as a person I am, and like it's just um like this ball of like bottled sadness in like my chest and in
In
my
chest.
throat and everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And let's slow it down. Feel free to let your hands stay there for a
need to
moment.
drink.
Yeah, have a drink. Sounds quite tender, right? You're somebody who has to be the CEO to a team day to day, right? You have to show up strong, inspire the team, right? There's so many CEOs that I'm coaching.
And still hope, whatever that
And still
means.
hope, right? Yeah, I have a lot of leaders I'm working with. They have that narrative. But there's someone here who's also needing attention.
Probably not enough time.
Not enough time, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, probably. I'm not taking enough time to think about it. I also think like, what's the point, feeling sad and like crying about it? It's like that's not gonna help.
Right.
But it still feels sad.
And it's up to you how deep you want to go here, right? And there's levels of vulnerability you can choose. Um, but even, and I'm inviting you again to kind of just make some contact with the sadness, with that so bottled up, right? That's in the chest, and maybe to close your eyes again for a moment, just to feel it, to touch it, to be with it, to say, all these people out there, and I'm coming home to my part here.
The moment I do this though, I literally need to cry.
Is that okay with you if you cry?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. I had a burnout like years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 5 years ago, I think, or six. And I did a stretch of therapy sessions after that.
Mhm.
And I remember that I've never like experienced this before. When you have a good therapy session and you come home and you're like, wow, this is so like tiring.
Mm.
And I just like found myself sitting there and like crying for like a solid hour. And I didn't even understand why. It's like super strange that if you push everything out and you just close your eyes and you're like trying to focus on the moment, that there is this like sadness sometimes.
Yeah.
And it did change. I do think like the current environment is actually like, it feels like grief almost a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like not knowing what's right to feel and what's like wrong to feel. Like who needs what from me? What am I supposed to do? How can I help? And then also this feeling of like, if I like, after I'm done trying to understand everyone's needs around me and trying to like come up with ways to satisfy them, also tricky. Often I understand the needs, I don't know the answers. Then I'm like so exhausted that I don't even have space to actually sit down and look at my kitty and feel sad.
Yeah. Like it sounds to me there's a fear of like there's the sadness and the grief, and just kind of like this. You said at first, you said there's this big ball, and now this ball is getting a little more. We have a little more visibility into what's happening. Just seeing Josh there really relating. So some people having a very similar experience to you, right? And so kind of, so there's this big ball of stuff that's going on. There's the sadness is one part of it, right? There's an exhaustion, a tiredness, right? That I'm also hearing. If that's
Definitely.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
And just
It's hard for me to like balance out. I think I've seen more and more like tweets actually about the topic of like, you are not working from home. You are trapped in a home trying to work while managing the crisis. This is not at all the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm actually like, the feeling I got, I was joking about this yesterday, was like, I feel like I'm sleeping in my office, which is like, you know, fine if you're working towards a release and it happens like once in a while. Like I actually enjoy this. Like I love working. Like we had these accounting nights with my two co-founders, like in the beginning of the journey, where we're like doing accounting once a month in like the late evening. It was cool. Oh, my kitty just meowed. What up? Funny. Yes, but I think like this, like day in day out, waiting for like the bad news getting worse and like being in the same room. It's yeah, it's challenging.
And I wanna kind of pause on kind of what's happening a little bit, because I want to give that space and we can come back to that. Kind of a lot of what's happening there. I want to shift gears for a moment. I want to hear you're a powerful woman. You're a powerful CEO. Like I can see that, you know, by reason alone that you showed up to this, right? Which most people would never agree to, right? Yeah, and want to hide from, right? And a part of you wants to hide from it too, and that's fine. But if I were to ask your team, right, and if I were to ask a lot of the people that you've worked with before, what would they say make you the powerful and successful person that you are today? What are the most valuable and important traits that you have?
Oh God. We actually did the feedback session not so long ago in our Christmas outing. I think what I can build on is that I figure stuff out always. So like I'm definitely, I think, I can be creative, specifically when we don't have solutions. I think I'm like this typical wartime person, like wartime CEO type. Like there is a crisis, please sign me on. I like solving crises. What else? Yeah, I think the energy is like my major, like the energy with the creativity and problem solving skills, kind of also like this not never giving up, like the unlimited enthusiasm, like we're not done yet, doesn't matter how hard it is, like we have to keep going, there's no way we are giving anything up. That is probably my trio that pulls me forward. There's definitely, I guess, other stuff too, but I think that's my major sources of
Right. And
contribution.
I want to kind of lay that out again and give it back to you. So it sounds like to me the first piece is you're a great wartime CEO. What that sounds like to me is you're someone who is able to stay solid even when the house is on fire. You know, when everyone goes running around, oh my God, you have an ability to go, I know
Whiteboard,
this is scary,
checklist, pen.
right? Let's still do stuff. Let's still get stuff done.
Yeah.
Right? You're also telling me that you really thrive on your own creative energy, right? That you don't only stay solid and get the whiteboard and the pen, but you also actually get excited. Hey, what can we do? How can we help others right now? How
Yeah.
can we build something that's amazing? How can I help myself, right? And the third piece, and I'm getting that from you too, is the enthusiasm, right? This like ability to inspire others, right? To, hey, like, hey guys, everybody, I know this is scary times, but this might also be a huge opportunity, right? For all of us to come together, for all of us to show up, not with having the answers, but still with being human, right? How does that land when I give that back to you in that way?
I think I have very high standards for myself, and I have like, I really need to work that in. Like, it doesn't live, the first effect is like pearling, like water on oil kind of thing. So I need to like grasp it and like put it in my head
Mm-hmm.
and remember, which is why when you asked me, it's not something I can just like get from myself. Like, I'm not the one pointing out my strengths. Like, that's not my job. Like, that's the job of others working with me if they want to do so and if I ask them for it. And they do, thankfully. Thank you so much for always giving me feedback. Everyone from the team was watching. There's so few.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like, I think one important value that also binds me to both of my co-founders, I think, is humbleness. I think this is also the part that we related, I think, from the beginning to like Buffer's culture on, that whatever the standards are, whatever the benchmark, whatever the other people do, like, fuck that. That's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
um, Being humble and not allowing yourself to have like this feeling of high grounds or whatever, but always keeping on the ground and looking to improve, like the Navy SEALs thing, where like you have a mission, you do it, you come back, you survived, yay to you. Let's talk about what we can improve, kind of thing. And I think it's very helpful in many ways, but when you get positive feedback, it's hard to build on top of that, I think, because it's really not like baked into that system. Like, where do I put this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great, I'm creative. Check.
Great.
So it's like, it's hard. I mean, I understand the value of it, and I'm really thankful for even like for myself to have that, for others to point it out, and I'm trying to like take it in, but it's definitely not something that I can just yeah, take. And
Yeah. Wonderful. So we've got, I'm getting a sense, right, where you're really strong at, what can come in as fears, right, especially when it gets personal. All of that is important, right? I'm seeing this as all really important part of your humanity that make you who you are. I want to come back to my first question. What will make this the most powerful question and conversation you've had in your life so far? Which topic, which theme, if you could get it resolved, would change
more
everything?
specifically, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There's a few. So there was one issue that I struggle with, I think, where we also are producing a lot of tips on in our product, because
Mm-hmm.
I am like asking for it. Sometimes I'm
Yeah.
smuggling requests for tips.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that don't know, we're building an AI coach, which basically like delivers 2-minute tips for leaders. So I'm definitely having like self interest, also trying to help myself.
Beautiful.
And I think the topic that I'm sometimes struggling with is defensiveness.
Mm.
Like when you're trying, so I have a quite cross-functional role because I'm in charge of product. So I'm trying to like work with everyone. And now we also like discovered how to do growth and or, like marketing and product better together. And that it's the same thing in the end and so on. So like we're like working out the machinery, but it also positions me into kind of the center of a lot of activities. And I'm a bottleneck for people all the time. And like it's um, challenging, but at the same time, I know like my 5 to 10% can help to lift things over. Like I don't actually do or contribute like 80 to 90% of the stuff that's work done by the team, but then there is like the little bits and pieces that I can like contribute, like fit in and like edit, and like that makes it then um yeah, that helps to like make it uh, a good result. And I think that is challenging when you actually try to like keep these 15 things in your head, in your hands, and in your head and in your heart, and like basically move between different priorities. Um, when people then start to move into like different directions, and I never know, is this like misalignment now? Do I need to catch them again? Do I need to like, what do I do? Um, and oftentimes I feel like I find myself jumping on stuff to like basically catch stuff in again, so like we stay as a like horde of grapes like in one place, and like we move into one direction instead of kind of like pulling into several different directions. And I know it's a challenge for many leaders, and I think it's not so easy to resolve. But I also notice that specifically for me personally, that leads to like me like reacting defensively sometimes when people are like bringing on new ideas on new directions, and I always feel like it's great. Could you please put it in the backlog? It's great. Could we please focus on getting this thing done? So it's, and when I react this way, I always feel like something is wrong. Like it doesn't feel right. Like it doesn't feel like the right reaction in that time. And I always feel like, fuck, I probably am limiting people. I'm probably like limiting the creativity of the person right now. I'm probably not a good team player. I'm probably like all these things. And I yet have to like make us all move into this like specific direction that we need to go. And I like haven't figured out how to actually really kind of lead from the back in that sense, and like not like letting go in that moment, but then still somehow catch people back in and then like help them to transit into that corner or that direction that we are moving into. So like that is I'm afraid that I won't be able to catch, and it will like disperse, and then it results in defensiveness.
Right. Wonderful. Great. Yeah, take that deep breath. That's a great piece there that you're bringing. I'm really grateful. I think we can really work with this. I'm excited. Yeah, this is a topic that has come up often. And as you say the word defensiveness, what I noticed, as you gave me this example, I noticed my jaw getting quite tight. Like me biting down and being like, everybody, no, shut up, everybody. I just need to get from A to B right now.
Yes, let's just do this. Let's not ask 50,000 questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feeling. Yeah, because I don't know, like there's always, we talk about this with Anthony sometimes, my co-founder, that you live in these like super different worlds, right? When you talk to investors, you talk to advisors, you even talk to customers, and they bring you like 15 million ideas in like a 10-minute call. You're like, yeah. We talked about all this. This is great. This is awesome. All in the backlog. Prioritize. Let's do this. And you bring it back. And then everyone in the team obviously still also has their own trains, right? Like, and they have their own days and like their own weeks and their own lives and everything. And you're like, yes, all these people need all these things 17 times of what we're doing now. So obviously it's a prioritization question, but I think there's always this tension of like, I'm seeing we could be here and it's so close, but then there's like this 180 kilometers that we need to walk together, not get lost on the way, not stop, not fall, and not die, not get sick, not get any of these things, and then like arrive at this point. And like the switch between this is quite challenging, I find, specifically in a small team where that world is kind of like the same as this almost, because when we do board updates, like yesterday we had one, we talked with them, we immediately published the deck, we like summarize what the outcomes were. So it's, for me, it's like almost but wait a moment, you guys see this world, right? You know, like the world wants us to do X, Y, Z, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's like this different pace, different like stakeholders with like ambitious, amazing ideas, obviously without any realistic expectations of it's like not understanding how things like take, how long things take and stuff.
And I want to interrupt you for a moment because this is
Oh, good.
wonderful. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves. I'm still with your defensiveness.
Mm-hmm. But that is my reaction to it. It's like when these like things happen and people start pulling
Yeah.
towards like the future, and I'm like, yeah, I'm with you. That's cool. And then like the other stakeholders keep pulling, like, no, come back to us here. Like, we need help. Can we talk about things? Can you
Right.
hug us for 15 minutes and like shut up and don't give us tasks?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, fine. I can't do the same things at all times. Leave me alone. Like
Wonderful.
that's the
Hold on.
defensiveness.
That's where I want to take you. So a part of me hears two things: that there is the defensiveness, but there is a part of you that's saying I shouldn't be defensive.
No, of
Right?
course not, because
Right?
they need me to hug, and these
It's
guys
a
need me to build.
right. It's a bad thing to be defensive. I should be helping. I should be hugging. I should be doing all these things. Right?
Yeah.
I want to do something radical with you.
Even more? Oh my God.
Yeah. I want you to allow yourself and enjoy yourself for a moment to be defensive.
Mm, no problem.
Great. I want you to notice in your body. I want you to bring back the hand gesture that you just did a moment ago.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Uh,
get away from me.
yeah. Leave
And
me
I
alone.
want, yeah, exactly, that mindset. And to notice my own chest kind of gets tight. It's like
Mm.
my heart wants to like have a big dungeon door in front of it and be like, everybody fuck off, right? Which can be really hard to say to your team who you love, right? And so I want to slow this down and I want to really allow yourself, your body, for a moment, if you feel to close your eyes for that. In your mind's eye, as
Mm.
scary as that sounds when people are watching, but in your mind's eye, allow yourself for a moment to tell everybody to fuck off. Yeah, wonderful.
Mm. It's hard.
It's hard, yeah.
I don't know why it's hard though. Like I have people in my life that are good in this, in a good way, like that are like perfectly sociable, great people that people admire, love being with, are super supportive. Um, and they do this, I think, in a good way.
They
I
do
don't
what?
know why I struggle. I think I have this like I don't know, savior complex shit
Right, right,
where like somebody asks me for help, like I just can't. I need to like jump on it and help.
right.
I can't do it.
So there's a
Just
certain belief that you have, and I'm going to ask you to complete the sentence that sounds something like, if I don't help somebody immediately when they ask me for help, then,
the thing I thought was like, and they think I'm a bad person.
yeah,
Another thing is probably then I probably am like not fulfilling my purpose in life. Um, kind of like then what the fuck am I doing?
yeah,
And then there's definitely also like who am I to decide whom to help and whom not to help and in which circumstances, because there's definitely more requests than I can handle while being balanced, I think.
who should decide who you help and who you don't help?
Yeah, that's a good philosophical question.
It's not a philosophical question. Who should decide?
It is though, because I think, I mean, I could say me, of course, which is like the self-empowered answer to this, but um, yeah, I don't know what the other option would be. I probably am deciding anyways, right? Like, even though I'm like super bottlenecked and like not, and like whatever, struggling to decide who's better off right now, or like what do I do first? I do decide. I just don't decide in like a very intentional way, but it's more like a on-demand
Wonderful.
help machine situation.
Yeah.
And the problem is that with that mindset, I also never like, I'm not standing in line. So like there's a line of requests, my like Trello backlog, um, and like my to-do list and whatever other shit. And none of these things is like, I mean, it's not true. Okay, there's like one or two things that actually are related to like whatever is good for me. So sports, reading, cat cuddling's never on the list. It's definitely a thing that happens now and then. I don't know, date nights, things like this. But like it's, yeah, I think I do sacrifice them quicker than I sacrifice other things, for sure.
And Darja, what's your role in your company again? Who
I'm
are
like
you?
a product co-founder and CEO.
Right. So I'm most interested in you being the CEO, right? And I'm gonna like poke you a little bit. It's gonna sting a little bit, but I want to go in with you. Well, everything you've described to me there is, I'm seeing you kind of like in a washing machine.
Sometimes.
There's some people have these requests, there's these requests, there's investors, outside stakeholders, there's date nights, your partner, you should do something for him, and like, whew,
Yep.
and you're like going and going and
My
going.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Often. Not, there is better days, but too often, I think.
For sure. And in particular this moment, right? With everything else going on, right? Like, oh, you should help even more people. Right?
Yeah.
And I want to see if you can imagine for a moment, even though it's scary, that you have this desk. You have a desk, and there's all these requests from different people, verbal or emotional, implicit or explicit. And I want you to take your hand right now, and everyone who's watching and who has a ton of different demand from lots of people in their own lives happening all the time, they can also do this exercise. I want you to close your eyes or keep them open, and imagine you have this full desk with lots of different pieces of paper. Lucas, you should do this exercise with us. So, and
I agree.
and I'm gonna ask you to wipe the whole table, all these pieces of paper, all this bullshit, all these requests, and to throw them right into the trash next to you, and to do the actual hand movement, and to notice what's happening in your body, and do it very slowly. This is a slow movement. Really enjoy.
And to not throw things in physical world.
You can if you feel good about that. So allow yourself to do that.
I can't do it.
Wonderful. So notice where you're pausing. Don't force yourself, but notice that you're stopping, right?
Yeah.
A part of you is like, oh, I can't do it.
I can't do it.
Where are you stopping? Where's your hand stopping?
At 11 a.m.
At 11 a.m. Great. So pause there and bring all the pieces of paper back onto the table. Ah, that's nice, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a relief.
It's a relief.
It has like a function. This like serving thing.
Good.
What is that function?
What is it serving? Great question.
I guess that's the part where I'm like afraid going.
What is it serving? What would happen if you took charge again of your life? If you took full control? If you said to everybody, hey, I'm making the
Fear of
agenda.
failure. I could fail, and then it's
You could
only my
fail,
fault.
and it was your fault. Right. What else? I'm feeling there's another piece. It's when I'm feeling into my body, I'm going to offer this.
Disappointing.
I'm getting a sense of I'll be alone. I'll be lonely.
Yeah, it's like disappointing people, and like being without those people.
Yeah. And so allow yourself to disappoint people for a moment. And be fully alone. They want nothing to do with you anymore.
Funny enough, in the current circumstances where I can't like actually go and meet as many people as I normally would, there is a part of me that is like super relieved about this because I'm like, I need to say no less times.
Yeah.
Right. No one is going anywhere. So I can just have my me space and time and try to like hold it together. I had to remember a moment that we had when we were preparing a presentation, and then one of my co-founders, won't say which one, forgot something, someone important on the pitch deck, and then he said this thing, fuck him, because it was very hard to fit in. It was very hard to like catch it and like make it work or whatever. It's just like, fuck him.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
It was so funny. We had to laugh so hard about this because it's like that's the mindset of like letting go at one point and say like, that's okay now. Like that's a battle I lost. That's fine.
Yeah. And I want you to bring that into your own body for a moment. Allow yourself to lose a battle.
No.
Allow yourself to protest. Allow yourself to protest. Allow yourself to tense against, no, I don't want it. I don't want to let go. And then in your own time, if you're willing, see what it would be like to at least attempt to let go. Just a little bit, to open your hand a tiny bit. Be like, okay, I'm gonna let everybody go. Let everybody, might disappoint people. Let everybody do their shit. Yeah.
Uncomfortable silence is what stays.
Yeah, notice the silence.
Just me, I guess.
Yeah. Let's track this a little bit. Just you. What's happening for just you?
So for the first probably many hours, it would be me sleeping. But after that, it's a good question. Normally I would say it's a bright new world out there. Let's go explore. However, bright new online world. Let's go explore. Yeah, I think if I manage to reset myself to like being okay in the place I am, being okay with things that happen, being okay with whatever like my inner voice is, then it's like basically just it feels like a fresh start to like go and explore. I think it's like exploration is me. Discovering new things, learning about the world, the people, and the things.
If I'm hearing you right, underneath having disappointed people, having failed, the tiredness where you would go and sleep for a while, what's also there is a kind of sense of natural curiosity. I do want to go out. I do want to see what's up. I do want to see who I can help. I do want to see, check in with my team, see what they need, how I can support them.
Mm.
It has a very different quality now that it
Mm.
had like 20 minutes ago. How is that? Is that true for you too? And what?
100%. I think it's like I can feel. I think the drama is bigger if you are a person that has like this helper complex, like you actually genuinely want to help, and then you know how to help, but then you don't have the resources, like you just don't have the mental energy. And I think probably realistically, I'd be able to, with that mindset, like the exploring and positivity and like being able to offer something, going into conversations and going into interactions, I probably could show up for like 25 to 35 to 40% of the interactions that I'm doing now. Like the amount of interaction time, some days from like 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. without breaks. It's just inhuman to be able to give positivity in that like speed. And I think we talk about this in the team as well. And I think we're buying the whatever Darja can deliver, independent of positive, enthusiastic, or whatever the fuck. Like it doesn't matter. Just buying what we're getting instead of like saying, okay, we're cultivating a particular impact or a particular quality of interaction.
And it's great. So here's what's coming up for me. It's great that you have a team. It's great that you have people that understand you.
I agree.
But I'm also here to tell you, from my perspective, from the many people I've worked with, you can't put that on them. Yeah. They have way too many conflicting pieces in their own agenda. You know, the designers and the engineers and the marketing people on your team. They don't, you know, they probably would like to help you from an intention, but it's really hard because there's a whole piece of you're the boss and, you know, other pieces going on too. And so there's really something that you allowing yourself to take the time, right? You saying to yourself, look, I'm going to take these 2 hours every morning or whatever it is you come up with for myself, for my sense of, you know, I'm even steering away from the word self-care, from just a place of you being with yourself, right? Because you don't need my help. You don't need any coach's help to, if you were my private client and I was coaching you long term, you wouldn't need my help to be creative and to go out there and to inspire the team and to think of new great features and new marketing strategies and new great people you could hit up to have on this Instagram channel. You don't need my help for that, right? What I would help you bring back to every so often, and probably many times over, is learning how to tell people to fuck off in a way that's, you know, as gentle as possible, but also as firm as possible. And for you to learn to give yourself space, right? To let the fear that if I'm not helping someone all the time, then I'm not a worthy person, whatever mental chatter runs in your mind, let that part of you land. That's a very young Darja. I would say that's a probably very young Darja that's been doing this for many, many years. So she probably needs a lot of reassurance that she will still be loved. She will still be, you know, valued by your team and everybody else if you sometimes tell people to fuck off and if you sometimes allow yourself to have some space for yourself. How does that land for you, hearing that from me?
It's probably, I mean, it's not entirely surprising. Like, I know this is my topic to work on, and I'm wondering so every time I get to this point, I think like the insight and the aha moment definitely has a new quality to it. So I don't want to say like, oh, I've heard this, I've been here before.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't been here before. I think I've been in similar places. But I'm wondering why it's so hard to like crack and what I can really do to actually help my mind shift a bit. And like, do I feel like almost maybe I need like more actionability in that topic where I say like that's the thing I do when I try that for like X times, or like I do this for 10 times and then I see what changes, or what's the actual key to changing behavior here, I think is probably the question that I'm asking myself right now.
Right. Yeah. And the way I work is very different from a lot of coaches out there, from a lot of people out there. I don't really give advice or tips or very rarely. The thing that comes to mind for me here is a part of the missing link that I see when I hear you say this is you actually acknowledging that to yourself that you like the washing machine, that you like not getting a lot of sleep, that you like not taking time for yourself, that you like, everybody, constantly bugging you and you needing to look at things. And I'm going to be very provocative now, that you like not being in your power.
Mm. I think I definitely think there's an element of that. I think it's not maybe as simple. Like I definitely like the thrill of speed and of um, kind of shifting gears quickly, and like the dynamic of that part of my life and like that part of me, 100%. Know this for myself or also from other things. But I definitely also suffer from it. Like it's not that, it's like um it's self-imposed for sure, but it's not only like a it's not only a positive. The kind of it's a consequence of like a bunch of decisions I make, and the consequences are definitely not only positive. Like I do have pain through the
And so,
consequences.
so the radical provocative thing that I'm offering to you is allowing yourself to like that you suffer from it.
Hmm.
Does that make sense what I'm saying when I say
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I guess it's acceptance of that part.
Yeah. And to really feel in your own body in a twisted way
Mm.
how pleasurable
Mm.
that being tossed around
Mm.
by all these people and their demands and their requests can be without shame. If there is
Mm.
shame, for sure, feel the shame.
Mm.
But I'm not being sarcastic here. I'm not trying to like
Mm.
put your nose into a truth, like leading you somewhere. I'm actually without agenda asking you to enjoy the that specific dynamic that you're telling me you don't actually want, but that I'm just wondering because it's there, that a part of you
Mm.
does enjoy, right?
Mm.
That a part of you enjoys convincing herself
Mm.
to not be in charge. It's kind of nice, right? I don't have to be in control. I get to have all these people needing things from me, and I have to kind of struggle with that. And once, and my experience has been once that's deeply acknowledged in the body, and this is
Mm.
kind of like a meditation for you to maybe take away, to really
Mm.
be with, to curl up on the couch and be like, I like all of this.
Mm.
I like the suffering. I like the tiredness, right? What is that
Mm.
bringing up for you? I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, like it's definitely my version of autopilot, I think. Um, because I also grew up in like a very fast-paced business, family business environment. So like that's the normal.
Mm-hmm.
So I can probably read from that when things are moving fast. I show up in the morning, lots of things happen, lots of things get like produced, lots of customers go in and out. Most hopefully are happy. And then I like come back to the end of the day and look back and like many things happen. Like it definitely is a thing that makes me feel home, I think. Um, however,
And that's fine. I think that's all. That's the only
mm,
invitation right now. No fixing, no trying to solve it. No, like a part of me feels home there.
mm,
And the invitation, if you were a long-term client of mine, I'll probably give you for the next week or until we speak
mm,
again, allow yourself to be feeling home there, right? In the roller coaster, in the up and down of the
mm,
highs and the lows,
mm,
but no changes,
mm.
no breaking the
Interesting.
belief, no changing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Just looking. Oh, this is nice. And now the product person, they have 70 things. Oh, it feels kind of nice. Everything's so busy. My mind is so busy, you know?
Yeah, I'll try that. Something bugs me about it already, though.
Good.
Um, I know why. Because so I'm also a planning person. I like make all these plans and list like sketches, and like my desk is full of stuff with like sketches, things, and I throw them away. I drawing
Mhm.
sketches, and I like actually like to have structure that I create, and
Yeah.
then I like training myself to adhere to it. It's not easy for me, but like I like the deed of, I don't know, like using freeletics and like actually sticking to the training, like training for a half marathon, actually doing the runs. Like it does definitely give me a very different quality, and I like that too. Like, and I think when these two things collide, where like I thrive in the chaos, I'm not afraid of it, super cool. Like, give me a pen and a whiteboard, and like I'm gonna make a plan, and I'm gonna change it 15 times a day, and we still kind of get to the target somehow. Like that's great, woohoo! But then at the same time, I think mid to long term, I'm actually the person that does like yearly goals and revisits them now and then and things. So like I think it's when these two things collide that makes it really tricky, where I just get lost. Am I supposed to like this now? Is this horrible? Like which one is in charge? Like are we doing planning or are we doing chaos now? Both is fine. Like which one is
Wonderful.
it?
So seeing these two parts, right, that seems really important to you too, right? That you're
Mm,
noticing there's these two modes you can sometimes fall
yeah.
into, right? And there's the washing machine, but there's the structured Darja. There's the person that really loves the plan, that likes to lead the team.
Where's our
And
KPIs? Why did we not update them?
right, right, all this stuff. And again, you don't need my help for that,
Mm,
right? You don't need a coach for that. You're brilliant, with that already. The invitation for me, again, I'm gonna ask you in a moment what you want to take away from yourself, because this is
mm-hmm.
about you. I'm just speaking my truth, which you can throw in the trash, just like I offered you to throw everything else in the trash later on. Um,
Difficult, always.
but kind of as we're coming to kind of like an end for now, the thing that I'm seeing is like there is a part of you that hasn't fully fallen in love with chaos.
Mm,
There's that you're always like a yo-yo. You're always
mm,
kind of like in the middle of it. You kind of
mm,
like you it happens, you like it a little bit and then you hate it and then you're like in the middle of it.
mm.
I think
Definitely.
right.
Yeah,
So
100%.
the invitation for me is like from me is to allow yourself to go all the way to loving it in the moment that it's happening, in the
Mm.
meetings without yet changing it. To see if you can find the place inside of you
All right. Yes. No
No,
sound. Oh
I
yeah, it
think
should be sound. Capture D frame is saying we have no sound. Do
I
you
can
hear us now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you. Can the other? We can't hear you.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Um, okay. Can you hear us now? Can you? Oh,
Good now. Okay, good.
okay. Instagram decided to, yeah, do a test on the chaos, I
I
think,
think Instagram limits these sessions to
to
60
60 minutes.
minutes. Great. I mean, but we're coming to the end anyways. I wanted to really end with your takeaways, for everybody who's watching. And um, again, my invitation is the loving of the chaos piece.
Mm-hmm.
That I would just be curious if you took that and see if you arrived at a place where you fully accept that and acknowledge that, and see if something dissolves on its own without you needing to
Mm,
do any tips or
mm,
any new work mode or any new,
mm.
just to see if something shifts once you arrived at the place where you're like, okay, I love the chaos and I don't quite need it in that way anymore,
Mm,
from a very natural place in your own
mm.
heart.
I think what
But
I could
yeah.
do is probably like try to see my structure.
Mm.
I need a thing, a ritual for myself to, I think, kind of run it as an experiment. I need to sort of structure. So what I was thinking now is maybe I have this like daily diary thing that I sometimes do, sometimes don't. I have streaks. I think day one or so it's called, the app. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that I should probably write down like 3 things I liked about the chaos at the end of the day. And then like
Mm.
after a week, look back and see what that brought. What
Yeah.
do I like? Hmm.
Do you have any
Yeah.
other insights, any other takeaways from?
So that's just to do basically. That's not really a insight, but I think that's a good thing to try. And then I'll write you, maybe make a story to see what comes out of it. Yes, what I think my biggest insight is, or my aha moment, is that the defensiveness also, because I do also get defensive when like people confront me, like, oh yeah, chaos here, like changes here, like what the fuck, and I do get defensive in these moments, and I think that will help me to understand that reaction a bit better,
Mm.
hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
because I can maybe like, if I'm more aware and clear on why I want to change things quickly sometimes, or why I think um, the washing machine is like a good thing in a specific moment or whatever, like I may be able to react differently
Mm-hmm.
to these requests because I will be like understanding more the function it has for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I do feel like it's like a starting of a journey. So I don't really feel like we're really done.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um,
That's right.
like I'm curious about which uh, Darja is gonna win the race and
Yeah.
whether they both can coexist
Mm-hmm.
in
Beautiful.
acceptance and
Yeah.
taking each other's strengths without like needing to push each other around and yo-yoing. Yeah, that is like this is my, I think the question I'm taking away, like can the yo-yo stop, and can I actually draw strength from being able to like thrive in chaos, but at the same time create structure
Right.
where purposeful.
Beautiful. I'm getting the
Thank you
sense
so much.
there's a little more space. There's a little more space around it, and
Yeah.
most all the CEOs I coach them around a fundamental idea of emotional bandwidth,
Mm,
right? And learning to have emotional bandwidth for all parts of your humanity, for the part that's defensive, for the part that's scared, for the part that loves the chaos, for the part that thrives and is creative and has ideas and great structure and inspires people. Because otherwise, they're always battling each other.
yeah,
But if you
exactly.
find time in your life to just be with all of them, no tips, no managing of your emotions, no managing of your defensiveness, right? That's just what I'm all about.
Mm,
There's no, learning to love your defensiveness, learning to love the chaos, learning to love is going to make everything else usually also a little easier. So that's kind of the final piece that I want to share with you.
Thank you so much. This has been very, very valuable. I feel very different than when I entered this session. I definitely feel there's like 1 to 2 blocks that moved around, and I need to see now how I look at the world and like what I do with it. So definitely one of the most memorable conversations that I had in the past months and probably years. So thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for guiding me through it and bringing me out alive at the finish line. And yes, for everyone who's watching, sorry that we didn't address so many questions. It's been actually a bit challenging with this format, I think, to involve more people, but I have been seeing a few of your encouraging comments and opinions and statements. Thank you so much for participating. And yes, thank you, Leo, for doing a brilliant job guiding and coaching. And everyone who wants to get in touch with Leo for coaching, in case there's a way to reach you, how would our audience do that?
Yeah, so I have a website, and I have a bunch more recorded coaching sessions that people can watch, and there's also ways there where people can, it's all in my Instagram bio on my website, and yeah, feel free to check it out. And yeah, everybody out there, it's not an easy time, but also I think it's like really exciting to let ourselves be touched by the virus into our own vulnerability, into our own deep purpose of life. And I really think that there's a huge opportunity in all of this, where we learn to dip right into the bottom, to the failure, to the disappointment that you shared, to the like, I'll be alone, no one will like me, and to go right there and to go through it instead of managing it and something else. And yeah, wonderful that you allow yourself to go there. Thank you so much. And it's great to see all the comments. I see Usman there. I see Aloch. I see Rio. I see Gabriella. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining in and going through this together. I think we all went through the peaks and valleys of this session together. And thanks, Darja, for you leading with your vulnerability. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for keeping me safe. All right. Thank you, everyone. Tomorrow we have another Real Talk coming up. So stay tuned. We'll be posting posts and stories about that. And I'll be asking more questions again. I definitely learned from Leo here. So I'll be reviewing which questions I'm going to ask. But thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us today, and enjoy your days. Wash your hands, keep safe, breathe, drink tea, do all the things that make you happy, and keep a positive out view.
Wonderful.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
Bye.